Hello everyone. Welcome to this masterclass on high-level design of Jio Cinema. Just a announcement here. We're very sorry that Vikas Srivatsava is not able to join the meet because of his ill health. But we'll carry forward with this masterclass today. So we have a very esteemed instructor for today's masterclass, that is Ishan Negi. He is a co-founder of Swaraj Labs. So he will take you all through this wonderful masterclass and give you insights on high-level design of Jio Cinema. So over to you, Ishan Negi. Ishan, hello. Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible now? Hello. You are on mute. Can you just unmute Ishan? The audience, can you all hear me? Can you all just let me know if I'm audible? Yeah, so I'm audible, right? Okay, cool. Ishan, can you unmute yourself? I think, can you just rejoin the link? Otherwise, I think there's a problem from your side. Uh, just 2 minutes. There's a technical glitch. Just 2 minutes. The instructor is joining in a while. Yeah. Hello. Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Ishan, can you hear me?
Hey everyone, good morning. Hey Satyajit, should I just share my screen and start, or are we
Yeah,
waiting for
yeah.
some?
You can start. You can.
No. Okay, cool. Let me just share my screen. Yeah. Y'all should let me know if you can see my screen and you can hear me fine.
Yeah, all
And
good. You can
okay,
see.
all good. Cool. Yeah. So today's session is a high-level design with Jio Cinema in particular as example. We'll be taking questions. You can just post your questions on the Q&A board, and we will probably wait. Uh, we'll take a Q&A break maybe every like 20 minutes or so. We'll stop in between and answer questions. If somewhere in between, maybe around 12 or so, you need a break, you can let me know. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. Okay, cool. So just a brief about what we are going to discuss today. A couple of things on the agenda today are around the user interface and design, CMS, or how content management systems work. This is particularly useful only like also for things like writing blogs or uh, how any kind of like content can be managed on these platforms, not just limited to cinema, right? Higher level of backend infrastructure and how globally scalable applications can be made. Like serving something like a content streaming platform requires you to be like scaled around like across the globe, as well as be highly like have low latency and highly scalable based on demand. Security and rights management of the content. Um, so especially around like licensing and digital rights management. How certain subscriptions and how these subscriptions are monetized. What particular like units they're basically selling. Uh, Support across different platforms, like across different clients. So mobile, web, and like different operating like mobile systems as well. So like iOS, Android, etc. How does that exactly work? Uh, how over time you keep adding in new features and keep enhancing and optimizing your application. Uh, and then we'll have a quiz. It's a short quiz. Should be relatively simple, and yeah, just a refresher of whatever we have discussed during the session. Yeah, I think after that, the folks at AlmaBetter will take you through their program and a final Q&A. I am reading chat from time to time, so but if you yeah, if there's something urgent and I need to be stopped, you can just let me know. Okay. So yeah, most of you have probably seen Jio Cinema or have watched something at Jio Cinema. If not Jio Cinema, something similar, right? Jio Cinema is not particularly special here, but you can replace that with any content streaming platform of your choice. The general principles remain the same, right? They offer movies, TV shows, so on, basically like mostly visual content. So there's a video and an audio aspect to it. It is available over the internet. So there are certain requirements that a platform like this has. The streaming should be seamless, like it should not stop. And it should not just stop. It should not stop for even if you have like a bad internet or like patchy internet. So it should, like, there should be some margin of error that should allow for. It should recognize what kind of content you're probably interested in, or what kind of content you would probably more likely to engage with. So it should like kind of understand that and recommend that kind of content to you. You should probably be able to download that content as well and store it on your local device. But then that gets interesting because you should not be able to, let's say, pirate it or export it out of that particular app. So rights management and how you will play it in real time, like a download content in real time, becomes particularly interesting there. It should also, the app should also be readable and usable in multiple languages. So you might have probably seen that when you start one of these apps, they probably ask you like what kind of content, like what language content you ask. So they're probably basically going to recommend you more of that kind of content, or even in some cases even display the app in that language. Yeah, it's been used by millions of people. They sometimes even have like, any new show that comes on, they probably see like huge bursts of traffic because everyone wants to watch it as soon as possible. Okay, that was like a brief overview. Moving on. Hey, morning to people who have just joined. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so yeah, I mean, platforms like Jio Cinema and Jio Cinema has played an important role in like the changing the entertainment industry itself. People had to either be live and present in front of a television when some new show came, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you had to be there to watch it, or you had to go to a movie theater to watch it. So it's definitely gotten like it's disrupted the whole entertainment industry in multiple ways. You're able to give easier and better access over the internet. You can get people to engage better with your content because you can personalize and see what kind of content they're into, versus having like one particular channel of streaming. There are because of all of this, there are new business models that are also possible through this, right? This also allows for these platforms to have their own partnerships with certain artists, with certain content creators, with certain publication houses and so on, to get like fresher content, to get newer content that people are actually interested in, and so on. And yeah, I mean, it's just easier to sit at home and watch content these days. Yeah. Cool. I think the first few slides are kind of a brief overview, so there should not be a lot of questions there. Okay. Yeah, so I think I covered some of the features in the first slide that a service like this would require, but just seeing this in a more presented format, we'll just go over it quickly again. It has a vast content of movies, TV shows, etc. Basically, audio visual format content. The streaming should be smooth and not have a lot of latency. You should be able to download it. You should be able to view it across different devices. Exclusive and original content obviously adds to the appeal and the sell of your feature, like people who want to come to your platform. Multiple languages, because not everyone can speak English or the same language. Yeah, other integration with Jio services, probably be able to get a free subscription with a with a Jio recharge or something like that, right? So integrated well into like other Jio services. It should be easy to use and new content as well as relevant content. And it should also have like parental controls. I think over time, as a platform matures, the list of these smaller features grows, but I think pretty much everyone can agree that this would be a fair list to start for any content platform, because that's what we're used to these days. Anything less would basically not want us to use that platform. Yeah. Right. So I think we covered that one of the key features for a platform like this is the ease of use and a friendly user design. That's because, I mean, obviously, if your design is not very, it's not like very intuitive, or a lot of people get stuck in places, they will not be able to use it to the fullest degree. Um, Design should be intuitive. Like design like this starts with how people actually think, how people actually behave, what their motivation is when they're trying to do a certain action, right? So whenever someone like, let's say, lands on a screen, you want to nudge them at certain places. You want them to be able to accomplish what they came there to accomplish. So designing things like this requires like a lot of empathy, as well as like understanding of what your users' needs are. So yeah, so you focus on the needs of your users. You obviously, there are certain ways to do this. You take interviews, you track metrics across your own application. You test out, you experiment with certain features and see how they behave, right? So yeah, you using experiments, you can then validate those designs. Using those metrics that you have in your app, you can take a more informed decision using that data. And there are certain things you optimize for, which is like the user got to where he wanted to go. The user is able to accomplish what he came here to accomplish. It's like a proper interfacing between a human and a machine. Yeah. So obviously, it needs to be balanced with the business needs as well, because at the end of the day, you're a platform. You're there to make money. You want to provide value as well as make value for your own company as well. So whether it be like selling a subscription, selling a service, and so on. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that there's a lot that goes into that designers or techniques like people who are designing these products actually use to place things where they are, to get it shaped how it is actually shaped. So yeah, next time you're using a content platform like this, maybe try to notice like smaller, delightful experiences that you gained. Then you might get a better insight into how things are designed. Okay, so any application or any platform has a certain navigational structure. Some of the best companies like Airbnb and Facebook, etc., they have a whole chart of what are different screens a user can land onto and what he can do from there, right? This is important because you obviously want to get like the user to a certain end goal as quick as possible. So if you're not aware of what all the flows in between are, you won't be able to sort of design for it, and you won't be able to get the user there. Things obviously, taking this as an example for like some platform with a checkout and a purchase screen, you have a cart there. So the flow would obviously be similar for something like this. If you use like Amazon or Flipkart, you log in, you come on a shopping page where you're served with a list of particular products you can buy. You can add things to your cart, or you can view them. And once you're done with your shopping, then you go to checkout and you purchase, right? So the goal for this application is clearly you want a purchase successful, because that's the goal of the platform. It's a marketplace, and you want users to get what they came in there to buy. So you obviously want to reduce steps in between, and you want to see a clear picture of what the user is going to end up at, which screen the user is going to end up at, and how they're eventually going to be able to come back to the purchase successful screen. Okay. Yeah. So whenever content, so I mean, Jio Cinema doesn't make all of their content. A lot of the content is actually like movies made by director or production houses. So whenever, let's say, a company or a production house comes to Jio, that they like, we want you to serve our content, right? It goes through certain profiling, certain categorization. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a feature set out of the content. So as well as like uh, like put the content in certain formats and certain types that their platform actually needs. So if we go over a few of them, you would have chronicling, right? So if you've used like YouTube, you would have seen um, bookmarks and particular navigational flags. So they just help you see what the timeline is and how to navigate it to it better if you want to get there. You look at all of your content, and you also want to see certain trends, like like what kind of content is popping up, and all of this probably feeds in better to let's say recommend content better to a user. um, you profile uh, you profile the content as well. You tag it with certain feature tags, uh, and you also compress and store the content in different formats. So let's say you have 720p, 180p, Super HD, and so on. And yeah, I mean, there's just from the moment the platform gets the content to the moment it comes up on your screen, there's a lot of change that the content has gone through. Uh, Not taking the case of Jio Cinema, which is an audio visual platform, but let's say taking the case of a music platform, um, different content is also automatically remastered in different formats. So let's say an application is playing it on the speaker of a laptop versus the speaker of a phone versus headphones. Uh, the actual music that plays is usually different. The name is same, the song is same, but the way it sounds will be different based on what kind of mode of listening is happening. And all of this is something the platform themselves understand and kind of remaster their content for to eventually create a better experience for you. Okay. Uh, I think we're getting a little into now the how a recommendation for like a platform like this would work. So when the content comes in and it's let's say tagged that this is going over some of the things we went before, right? So this is English. This is, let's say, you determine the genre of that. Maybe there's a human sitting who looks at it and says that. They look at the length of it. They look at whether it's like a dark show or a comedy show, and so on. So now we have like certain features of the content with us, which will feed into, let's say, some machine learning algorithm, which determines that it probably ranks it for a particular user and creates a maybe a top 50 or a top 100 list of recommendations, right? So for example, say your content is stored in your Cassandra, uh, or at least the markers for the content are stored in Cassandra. Your user profile is stored, or your user weights are stored in your SQL. And like your cache would be like your Redis or some sort of a like um, memory access storage, which would that the algorithm service would need. I'm not sure how much you guys want me to go into like algorithms like this, but yeah, there can be in general two types of algorithms. They're usually like, or at least like content algorithms, or some sort of a feed algorithm, or in general of two types, which is like push based or pull based. So for example, Twitter uses a pull based algorithm and Facebook uses a push based algorithm. But I think that might not be that relevant for today. If someone has like particular questions about it, you can post and can discuss those. Okay. Yeah, I think we went over some of it a little, in one of the previous slides. From the source video, it's encoded into different formats. It's put on a content management system or a hosting service. We get to the first new thing that we haven't discussed before, which is content delivery networks. So you cannot serve let's say you want to be like globally scalable, right? If Netflix had one server or a bunch of servers only in United States, or like Virginia in United States, they would not be able to give that particular TV show to me very quickly. It would take a lot of time for that content, even though it's coming through the internet, for it to be served from US if every bit of content was coming from there. And that would also increase their like bandwidth costs and like data transfer costs and so on. So what these platforms do is they have a separate network of their own which delivers their content. So they might have like a delivery node in Delhi or in Mumbai, right? And everyone who's looking for like Indian shows or shows that are popular in India, they would serve it out of that particular like edge location, rather than the request going all the way back to US. For something which doesn't exist in your so to say neighborhood delivery node, it can go to like a more central hub and get it from there. The idea is the same. You want your content to be closer to the end user, and that's how you can optimize for scale. You would see this kind of like optimization pattern in multiple places as well. So if you think of like 10-minute delivery, right? You want most frequently ordered products as close as possible to the person, so you can deliver it in 10 minutes. It's the same principle, just applied for like digital content. Then that content from that delivery network comes to an internet service provider or your home network, which might be like your local internet provider. Then it comes on your video player and you see it. So yeah, I think the most interesting thing here is the content delivery network, which we hadn't discussed before. I think most of the other things we've seen before. In Instagram, which type of algorithm is used? I think Instagram uses a push-based algorithm, for their feed. Their yeah, it's a good question. What they like a push-based algorithm is, they look at like from time to time they will from time to time they will look at how frequently a user is coming online, and they will look at all the new stuff that is posted, and they will add that stuff to a particular queue or a particular list for you. So they have like an edge node algorithm where they rank things like based on the weights of certain people you interact with. So you interact with more with 5 of your friends, right? So you'll get a higher weightage for those 5 people, and all of that content then gets added to like a particular list, and you get stored content from that list. Yeah, post and pull. So for pull, a queue is maintained per user. That is not your algorithm, but the content you post. And whenever you're trying to like get that particular feed, it would be pulled from that. So yeah, I can go over it more at the end of the lecture if people are still interested, but I think we will continue for, I think we're possibly a little behind. Okay. Right. So how some of these backend architectures are actually hosted. People back in the day used to have their own data centers, but now no one uses their own data center. Everyone uses cloud because most companies want to accommodate for variable scale as well as lower upfront cost. So this allows you to very quickly host your backend or host your service, as well as you get a lot of things. You get a lot of things out of the box, like ease of deployment, like security, as well as let's say like an admin panel where you can manage all your workflows and deployments and so on. Yeah. Your client infrastructure, it's not exactly infrastructure, but your client application can be of multiple types, as we were kindly like briefly touched on before. Can be like web, mobile can have multiple types as well, like Android, iOS. You can have like third-party clients as well. So let's say in case Jio Cinema wants to have like specific content for some company or for some other like content creator, right? Or like a white labeled application, then it would have a different type of a client as well. All of them interact over the internet with your backend application. Yeah, it's not a lot here, but we'll get into it a bit more. Yeah, this might be a little out of place, but I think we have briefly touched on it a bit before, but we can cover it again. This is the intention for today as well. We're trying to go over like architecture components and interfaces that go into creating a system like this. I think now we're getting a bit deeper into like the backend and the tech part of it. There are more questions. Which cloud provider does Jio Cinema use? I am actually not sure, but in terms of offering, pretty much AWS, Azure, GCP are mostly similar. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them or any of them. Also, if I had to guess, they're probably using a combination of 2 or 3 of them. So yeah. Yeah, so I think we covered some of the features Jio Cinema has, but from like a tech point of view, there are a few minimum requirements that it should have to even like for people to even use your application, and which I think we've covered a bit in some of the themes we spoke about. It should be scalable globally. It should be maintained by maybe possibly as few people as possible, but also successfully maintained. It should not go down. It should be reliable, and yeah, it should be performant across multiple like hardware types. Let's say you have like maybe a new MacBook Pro, or you have an old banked up Windows. Your application should work across all of them, and even across like different types of like different speeds of internet, right? You want your platform to use as little people as possible to maintain and to grow, as you want to be as efficient as possible in terms of money and time as well. Yeah, different services and components should work together. So your front end client application, your database, your backend services, all of them should have very clear responsibilities and very clear interface of communication. Yeah, you have security folks in your company, and you have security rules in your company to reduce risk, which might be related to like user logins, related to content being stolen, related to private information of your users being leaked, and so on. Yeah, and I think the similar theme, right? Scalability and flexibility in mind. Scalability is another reason, like the primary reason people use this, most of these cloud providers, as you asked before, because today you want to serve like 1 million people, but tomorrow you have an IPL match coming in, like 10 million people or like 20 million people are going to be watching. So you want your infrastructure and your backend servers, like everything to scale and kind of breathe in and out, like as your requirement grows. Okay. Right. So there are certain requirements that you need to understand, right? Which you can get from maybe researching the space, maybe talking to your users, thinking about how many people are going to be using it, which will give you an insight into how scalable, how performant you need require to make it from day one, and also eventually over time. You think through what those components would look like and how they would interact with each other to create a fully functioning platform, right? You establish APIs or protocols of interface between your different components. So a client and a backend would communicate via this interface. So that would be your API design. A lot goes into API design as well, because and it relates a lot to how your application is designed, how performant you want it to be, and as well as what screens and layouts you have. Usually you want as few API calls as possible, but your API calls can't also be too big. So there's also like always a balance. This also requires like caching or like high performance storage at multiple levels. So for example, if you open Instagram, you would have seen that you get, like, as soon as you open, you see like the first page, which is probably the previous content you were looking at, but maybe in like 3 or 5 seconds, the content refreshes, right? So that is because the API is actually taking time for new content to be pulled. Until then, it's just showing you whatever it has stored in its either local memory or like a cache close by. You define protocols of interaction between different components, as well as data formats for these responses and your application. So like a data format which might be optimized for Twitter would be very different from like Jio Cinema, because there's obviously audiovisual, there's obviously some insight they have about what kind of internet connection and bandwidth their users have. So the kind of data formats they use would be like vastly different based on what kind of platform and application you have. We have hinted a lot towards like scalability and performance and different requirements for it. I think we will get a little more into what some of the specific ways are to scale and make your platform more performant. I'll just name them for now, but we'll get a little more deeper into it, I think, in one of the slides ahead. So load balancer, right? So load balancer is basically a very specific type of server which is responsible for routing your request to like multiple underlying application servers. So you want to be able to map your request. Like let's say when you actually scale out, you have multiple servers which are running your application, and you have a load balancer on top of it, which routes like uh, multiple requests to each one of them based on how free they are. So let's say you have two servers. One is currently working and um, like it's under a lot of load, right? It's so the load balancer will be responsible for any new request that comes in goes to server number two, which is maybe relatively freer. I think we touched a bit on caching, which is like a high performance storage. So something which has already been calculated before or already been fetched from the database before, you just store it in memory, uh, possibly close to the user as well. So you can serve the same content again very quickly. Database optimizations are done at multiple levels. You optimize your queries, you optimize for location, you optimize for read versus write. Um, so yeah, because there can be an application which is maybe read way too frequently than it is written at, right? For example, Jio Cinema or any of these like uh, video-based content platforms. Like you have way more people looking at that content than actually like posting that content. So you want to optimize your databases for that kind of stuff. Yeah, you experiment and you test with real data and real use cases, and you validate those designs. This is an always ongoing process. You're always trying new things and you're validating them against how they performed, like A versus B. Gives you data to choose which design to go with, and yeah, uh, just make better informed decisions using that data. You also have metrics at certain points. So you want to be able to know when a particular user ran into an error or a particular user got stuck, right? So it highlights certain issues in either design or your system itself, and how you can address them. Yeah, bugs have require monitoring. So you have systems which are constantly storing your logs, your application logs, and you're looking at them to kind of fix those, to get highlighted about what the bugs in your system are, and update those. Yeah, as well as new features, right? So with new features comes new bugs. Okay. So this is clearly a class on like high level design. We're talking about like scalability, like system scalability, system reliability, globally available, higher level structure of components and modules, right? And as well as system architecture. A lower versus something like a lower level design would be like logic of each individual service, getting deeper into how, let's say, feed algorithms or recommendation systems work, what kind of data structures and what kind of database would each individual service use, how error handling or logging and monitoring works at scale for these applications. Um, yeah, as well as state transition and so on. Okay. It can also, if it goes into it, can also go into like coding standards and how the code itself is designed and structured. But yeah, today we're just discussing the high level design. Right. So I think I covered a bit on load balancer, but um, it's like the bread and butter to make an application scalable, right? You when you run something locally, or when you make a small GitHub project on your own laptop, uh, you're running it on a single machine, which is your laptop, right? But this is not how, let's say, a fully functioning deployed application can work. It just having it run out of one laptop makes it only usable for, let's say, a bunch of users, or a limited set of users that your laptop can support. When you want to globally scale it or have your application highly reliable and performant, you deploy it, as we discussed, on the cloud, right? So you have a load balancer, which is basically the machine all your everyone's request whenever they type, like, Jio Cinema or Netflix.com, like all of the requests kind of reach that load balancer, or that particular set of load balancers. And that load balancer is then responsible for routing those requests to like multiple underlying servers, or underlying uh, like sets of servers. Uh, the load balancer is continuously aware of uh, what memory usage, what CPU usage, and how network heavy each individual machine is. So it is better able to make the decision of where to route the request. There are also multiple algorithms the load balancer itself uses to route those requests, uh, after taking in the availability and the responsiveness of underlying machines. Um, there are also instances where the load balancer realizes that the underlying machine is not, so to say, alive anymore, like it's not responding back to requests. And then the load balancer kind of like sometimes even takes a decision to like either restart the machine, or cut that machine out and maybe spin up a new one. All of this is obviously powered by like cloud services and cloud-based, like the kind of innovation and the tool set cloud services provide. I think so after the load balancer, the request reaches like your application, or your application controller, um, which has the bulk of your say application logic about where to look for content, how content is going to be served, and for that content, it goes to the databases or different kind of file structures, where that particular data is stored. Okay, I think there might be a few questions from this, but yeah, we just keep going. So I think going into particular examples of what we discussed here, right? Like a reverse proxy or a load balancer. An example of that would be Nginx. It's very commonly used and pretty much an industry standard, along with a couple of other ones. We spoke about application level code, right? So if some of you are starting um, to to code or write your own applications, you've probably heard of Django. Or if you haven't, or if you work on like the JavaScript type of world, you would have, it's like an equivalent to an Express server. Celery is used for running background tasks. So a lot of tasks are not possible to be handled in real time on HTTP request or like an API request. So they are put off in the background. So for example, we were talking about creating a recommendation system, right? So creating a list of items you're going to be interested in doesn't have to be done in real time. It can be done in the background, maybe once a day, twice a day, every hour or something like that. So that kind of highlights the importance of using a background worker. And below are certain kinds of data storage. So Cassandra is NoSQL type of store. Postgres is relational store. Memcache and Redis are caches for like in-memory caching, and RabbitMQ is a queue. So I think I will pause here for questions, and because this is I mean, it's a very interesting topic, and this is goes into like the bread and butter of architecture and system design, um, and making your application like performant. So I'll just pause for a minute, let you take it in. If you have any questions, you can post them there. Keep going. Okay. Cool. No questions for now. I think Satyajit, we are supposed to take a break at 12, right? Like one break in between. Um, let's see what's next. Yeah, I think this would be a good time to pause. So we can take a break right now, maybe for like 5 minutes. I think would that be fine? We can go a bit more into like the slide here, or we can carry forward if you have more questions, if you no one has questions. Okay, we will start again at 12. That's fine, right, Satyajit? Okay, cool. See you at 1. Hey, I think a couple of people wanted a quick recap. So we'll just do a quick recap. Uh, yeah, I'll wait a minute more for just in case someone is still joining. We good to start? Okay, cool. I think someone said they joined recently, so they wanted a recap. What I'll do is, let's see. Yeah, so we're talking about Jio Cinema, right? I'll make it like not more than like I don't want to waste everyone's time who's been here since the start. So we'll do this in like maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, Jio Cinema, very popular streaming service. You've probably used Jio Cinema, something similar before. It has certain features like it streams audio-visual content. It recommends stuff which is more closer to you or more deeply engaging with you. It has download for offline viewing, and it has multiple languages support, among other things, right? A content like this democratizes access for people, right? Anyone with an internet connection can look at content or can watch movies and videos. You don't need a full TV, right? You just need a phone, maybe. You don't need a cable connection. You just need internet. You don't need to go to movie theaters, although you can, but you don't need to. It has allowed for new business models. It has allowed for more engaging and personalized content, rather than having cable television with just like one particular type of content showing. Uh, since it's democratizing access, it's also empowering content creators to make content more closer to them, which is turning out that people more closely relate to as well. Yeah. Uh, it has, so there are a content service like this has certain key features. It has a vast library. It has download offline viewing. It has cross-platform accessibility like web, Android, iOS. Um, it has exclusive content which adds to the appeal. It has multiple languages support, and it has regular content updates. So a new movie or new TV show, you get it right there. When you're designing an application like this, you need to focus on what the requirements of your users are, and what the business actually needs, right? So you do some user interviews, you validate those designs by conducting experiments, you track metrics so you can make more informed decision using that data. Yeah, so you're also always aware of what the structure in your application is, as well as how a user navigates to what would be like a successful state for you. So taking the application of an e-commerce platform, a successful state would be a user completing a purchase. What you're trying to optimize for and what you're trying to think of is how can I get a user to the successfully purchase page as quickly as possible. That's the experience and the design you want to create. Yeah, so platform like this has to curate and categorize content. To do that, you are tagging your content, you're comparing one type of content to other, so you can recommend it better. You are spotting trends in what kind of stuff is working, what kind of stuff is not working. And you also profile it, so you can, yeah, again, recommend it better. Okay. So this goes into a bit more of the technical side. As a non-technical person, it's fine to not completely understand all of it at once, but if you can take away the core aspect of what we're trying to do here, which is thinking of how a service like this scales how a service like this gives more performant responses. I think that would be like a successful uh, achievement for you as well, right? So yeah, like for a content recommendation algorithm to work, it would require multiple types of data stores. So what you're looking at, like Cassandra, MySQL, Cache, right? All of these are databases. They are databases optimized for a certain kind of activity, right? And all of them are required for a successful algorithm service. An algorithm service probably creates a list of recommendations or things it thinks are more useful and better for you, and that's what is eventually feeded to you. Okay. I think we touched on most of the things here before, but content delivery networks, right? So uh, to bring the content closer to you, and to reduce the latency, and for like, let's say 1 million people in India are watching like uh, I don't know what's an Indian TV show, Sacred Games or something, right? So Netflix will probably get Sacred Games on a delivery network or a delivery node close to India. So all of the requests don't go to US or their home base. They're served out of like a content delivery node, which is closer to you. These are smaller tricks which are done to kind of optimize for performance and scale. Yeah, so cloud computing allows for like variable load handling, because one day you have a cricket match, one day you don't have a cricket match, so the load your application is going to see is going to be vastly different. Uh, and cloud computing services kind of allow you to use as much as you require in real time and only pay for what you use. Right. What we're here for today is a high level system design. Um, so examples of these are like popular applications you've used before: Amazon, Flipkart for e-commerce, Overula for ride booking, and some of these much widely used finance applications. Um, yeah, all of them have different services, different client applications, which work together to be able for you to like accomplish your goal, right? Which is either book a cab or go from place A to place B. There's a lot of things which go into creating these systems. First of all, understanding the user requirement itself, and then creating an architecture around it, creating smaller components which interact with each other, and the interface of their communication. So how your application, which is in your browser or your phone, how is it going to talk to the backend system? So that language of communication does also needs to be defined, if that makes sense. Okay. There are certain things, as we discussed, you want to apply, like optimize for. Like you want your system to not go down. You don't want it to have as few bugs as possible. You want it to scale as new users come on board, or whenever there's an IPL match, and you want as few people as required to be able to maintain it successfully, because you don't want that suddenly today you have a sports event happening, and you suddenly need like 1,000 more people in your company. So that will not work. You want like the same number of people, if possible, to maintain like a bigger and bigger user base. Right. You want as few system failures and security breaches as possible. So you design with security and reliability in mind. Uh, yeah, I think we've touched on a lot of this before. Designing the schema itself might go into like a lower level design, but it's still required. You yeah, you design, you understand the problem space, you define relationship between different components, how they're going to talk. Most of it is done using like these APIs and protocol interfaces as well as data formats of between these different components. Um, right, you choose what protocol or what framework like Django or Express or something like that you're going to use, or what programming language or tool you're going to use. You think about how much load you're going to be facing. Like you think you're going to be facing like 10,000 people or 10 million people. Like the kind of application you have to create is going to be very different. Okay, I think this just highlights a difference between like high level and low level design. Uh, so yeah, thinking of like main components, thinking of reliability and scale, thinking of relationship between components, all of that goes into high level design. Thinking of what language or framework you're going to use, or like what database you're going to use, thinking of how you're going to structure your code, how you're going to document, how you're going to create the logic of each individual component or module, that goes into lower level design. Okay. I think here we spoke about how a load balancer is like the bread and butter for scalable design or scalable system design, because it is primarily responsible for routing, like let's say, millions of requests to different underlying applications. So it decides which particular server is free or which particular server doesn't have a lot of load, and it kind of, as the name suggests, like balances load between different underlying servers. So yeah, like anytime someone is designing an application like this, will have 200% use load balancers. And as the application gets bigger, each individual service also has its own load balancer. There are also other tricks that people use, like creating multiple replicas of your database to provide higher scale, or having, like as the slide suggests, like read-only replicas where you just read from, you don't actually write there. So any read request that comes gets served out of the read-only replica, and any write request or read and write request comes and gets served out of uh, the main replica, right? So these are like smaller, more technical tips and tricks that people use to create these systems. I think so far so good. Yeah, so this is where we paused before the break. Yeah, so uh, an application which is a little fun fact, right? This was actually the stack, like the little stack Instagram was using, or actually still uses for some of its core services. They were using Cassandra, Django, and Celery. Uh, yeah, and this is like using a similar setup like this, they were able to achieve to like millions of users of scale, right? So even though this looks similar and there's just like lines drawn between them, but this is exactly what Instagram used back in the day. Django is the web application here, right? So Celery is the background worker, because I think, as we discussed, like a lot of tasks don't need to be done in real time. They can be done either in the background because they're not like relevant right now, or they're going to be relevant in the future. So you just push them to a background worker, and uh, yeah, and you keep a queue of those tasks in something like RabbitMQ, which is a queue, right? So uh, your background tasks, you keep getting a list of like background tasks, you keep adding them to a queue, and one by one you pick up from that queue and you work on it whenever you have time, right? Uh, what is distilling and synthesizing? I'm not sure which slide you're referring to. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go forward. Right, I think we briefly touched a bit upon digital rights management for content protection. This is particularly useful in when you want to say uh, download content, but you don't want users to be able to, let's say, export it out of the application itself. I think if any of you have used Jio Cinema or something like Netflix or Amazon Prime on your phone, and you download that video or that particular TV show, you're actually not able to, like, let's say, share it as a WhatsApp video or something like that, because yeah, because they want to honor their license agreement and their the rights they are provided, which doesn't like include letting people export that out. So sorry. um yeah, so you basically create uh, uh adaptive bit rate. I think that might be getting a little technical for a few folks. Yeah, so basically what this particular slide is trying to say is to be able to create that video in a format uh, where you only want it playing through a license or playing through a particular encrypted key, uh, and only via your player. There's a certain uh, encryption of the video that goes into that. Yeah, so Play Ready or Widevine is some of the services which do something like that. Yeah. Yeah, one of the fun facts here is these videos are usually never stored in a single file format, right? So when you think of, let's say, a TV show or an episode, you think of episodes. You think of episode as a single file. But that's usually not how your video player or your when you're actually looking at it. That's not how it's actually served to the video player itself. It's usually broken down into small chunks, and even deciding which chunks to download and when to download them, there goes like different algorithms in that, because there can be a video which uh, is usually never skipped, right? So they realize through data that no one usually ever skips this video, or they realize that a lot of people, actually, when they reach this particular point, like when they reached a minute mark, they are very likely to skip. So the order in which these chunks are downloaded and how big these chunks are going to be is super relevant for a content platform like this. And there's a lot of optimization done at that level as well, right? If that makes sense. Your screen is not edible. Not sure what you mean. Can you not see my screen? Um, okay. I mean, if my screen is not visible, you can let me know. Uh,
It's visible, Ishan, actually.
okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, so as we were talking about, right? Fair play keys and encryption keys are like uh, they're super relevant, because you don't want people to be able to export your content out. You want your content to be like locked into or only be viewed in the context of your video player or your application. Okay. Yeah, so like we were talking about some of these think for specifically when it relates to rights management, right, there's something called Play Ready, which is used actively. So because these contents have their own intellectual rights and let's say screening rights, right? So who's allowed to screen it, who actually owns it, who makes revenue out of it. There's like very clear distinction there. So when the viewer is watching it on their screen or on their video, some of these licenses are generated in real time and sent to the player to be able to play those videos. Let's say, for example, when you're watching it in a movie theater, right? There are actual pen and paper agreements that have gone through for that, let's say, Priya Cinema or whatever, that mall to be able to show that video. But when you're watching it, let's say in an electronic platform in real time, like over the internet, where content is delivered over the internet, when you require it, or let's say in cases where you can even download it, these licenses get tricky to handle and generate. So this just goes a little into kind of highlighting some of those use cases. Yeah, so I think one of the more core services that pretty much every application requires is authentication and authorization. Even if you're making social media or you're making any kind of application, everything requires, if you have a user and if you have user specific data, you need authentication and authorization. So I'll briefly go over what the difference between this is. So on a higher level, um, like authentication is basically like a user uh, uh, letting you know who they are, uh, and like sorry like authentication is basically a user being valid, and authorization is basically checking that the user rights and like privileges and accesses are there in place to authorize them to do that particular action, right? So authentication is related to the identity and authorization is related to the action that particular user is trying to perform. Right. So authentication gives you access to certain places. Authorization gives you access to certain actions or resources, right? Every application on the internet that you have interacted with, probably you have gone through some sort of authentication or authorization. So let's say if you were Discord mod, you are probably very familiar, or you've used Discord, you're probably very familiar with authorization, right? Because you give people access to perform certain actions, right? Someone can post a message in a group, someone can only view messages, someone is a WhatsApp admin, right? They can remove people from the group or add people to the group while other people can't. So that particular thing is authorization, and authentication is just you being your phone number, let's say in case of WhatsApp. Okay. There are authentication also gets interesting because if you would have used like sign in via Google when you were joining Zoom, that's a very interesting use case of authentication and authorization, because Google is basically telling Zoom that you are who you say you are, right? Okay. There are certain things, like there are certain protocols which are used to, which are commonly used by these authorization protocols. One of the more common token. It's basically a way to encode who is trying to basically access this platform, and it contains some information about the user. Different platforms construct this token in different ways. So yeah, um, like these tokens have their own way of being refreshed and being generated whenever you log in. So whenever you actually sign into an application, a JWT token is generated, which authorizes your calls to the backend server. Uh, So yeah, so whenever this token gets deleted, you're probably required to log in again. Okay. So touching a bit about single sign-on, because these services also require, let's say, sign in via Google or um, sign in via OTP, which is a type of single sign-on, let's say, or sign in via Facebook, right? So as I mentioned, right, whenever you sign in via Google, you open a Google login, and then when you successfully log into Google, Google then sends a request uh, to the application, let's say Jio Cinema in this, for example, or Zoom, for example. It tells you that this person is who they say they are, and uh, this this service like then uh, responds back with a constructability token back to you. So yeah. Okay. You can take a breather because most of the technical this over. We'll just go over some of the business model stuff and how they actually monetize, right? So I think Jio Cinema in particular, or even any content platform, they usually have a mix of different tiers. They have monthly, annual, free access, free trial kind of subscriptions. Mm, uh, Annual subscriptions usually have a cost saving if a user if you can get a user to commit to a longer time frame. So if you most people use like annual subscriptions, people are not responding to where access to all the content and all the features, but they get a flavor of the platform, or they start with like a monthly subscription, right? Uh, can I share the first screen? Okay. Do you mean the previous screen? Okay, I'm not sure. If you have a specific question, you can just ask in the Q&A group, and I'll go to the slide. Yeah. There's usually a freemium model as well, where if you would have seen like rent a particular movie, right? YouTube has this a lot where you can, let's say $50 or $100, you can rent a particular movie. Most of YouTube is free, but it's monetized by ads. To avoid ads, you can use YouTube Premium, and for specific premium content, you can rent it. So that's how they cater to different models and different services. Okay. Yeah. Then they also so since we discussed like content delivery has a cost, uh, data storage has a cost, right? So being able to serve really HD videos is more expensive for the platform than streaming, let's say, lower quality, but like lower like not high definition, like standard definition videos. So you want uh, to give that as a feature, higher streaming quality or 4K or multiple family plans, only to people who are kind of paying the price for it, or like more premium customers, right? Because again, like offline storage, 4K streaming, all of this, as we discussed, involves a lot of like components and moving parts, as well as like infrastructure cost for the company itself. So you want to be able to charge higher for those particular things. Student plans, right? This is particularly interesting. Apple has like certain plans, like cheaper models for students, as well as like I think some a lot of platforms have student specific where they check your like enrollment ID at a particular college and offer you discounts. Yeah, I think this should be fairly intuitive as well. Ads, right? So Jio Cinema, I think, is free to use to start off with, and they have ads running throughout the video, even in like live content or in like OTT content. Yeah, so they have various ad formats, like they have targeted ads as well as standard video ads. Then they also have like skippable ads or non-skippable ads. They use analytics from these ads to kind of serve you either better ads that you might be interested in or increase the chances of engagement, because that's how these ads work. Like they charge on how much engagement they're able to generate from the users. So that's how these ads get monetized. Like the more clicks on these ads, the more money they make from. Then there are also like ad placements, which is getting more and more interesting these days. Let's say an artist or an actor kind of uses a product in the movie, right? So that's a more subtle way of doing an ad. And these things are usually decided before the content is like while the content is being made, right? Like while the movie is being shot, the actor like drinks a Coca-Cola or something. So yeah, ads can be placed in like very interesting ways these days. Uh, yeah. So based on all the information you have collected on users' preferences, you can not just serve them uh, like specific ads. You can all create certain user profiles and target them with certain segmented ads and relevant content. So not just relevant for marketing, but also relevant for serving better content to the user. I think one interesting fact here is Netflix. If you open Netflix, the thumbnail you see for a particular content is sometimes different for different people. So let's say like the mini thumbnail you see for a particular TV show or movie might be different depending on what Netflix thinks the kind of visuals you are into. So that's the level of like uh, profiling and targeting like a big content like that does. I think geography also plays in it. Obviously, people in India might be interested in certain shows which might be vastly different from the kind of content someone in like US would be interested in. Retargeting, right? So if past shown interest in certain product or topic, you might be interested in it again, or something like they realize your mom's birthday is certain date, so they might show you ferns and petals card, like order like flowers for your mom, something like that. So yeah, specific content, specific context, and retarget. A/B testing, I think we touched on it when we were talking about design and user interface. So based on your understanding of what your users require, you can create like feature A or feature B, right? Or like a design A, B, and with you provide that out to the users, and you see which one is performing better. So certain people may get this feature and certain people may not get this feature, may get some other feature. So I think like Instagram or even like Spotify or even Netflix does this a lot. They constantly, you might see a feature that your friend has but you don't have. So yeah, those are basically experiments that they're running. partnerships, right? I think every content platform like Apple, Netflix, Jio Cinema, Sony Live has their own production houses, as well as partnerships with, let's say, someone has the rights to show IPL, someone has the rights to show F1, someone has the rights to show like Premier League and so on. So, and they all have their own like featured exclusive content as well that they are making house, or they have like exclusive partnerships with. This obviously adds to the appeal of that platform. If you're a fan of a particular artist or a particular TV show, you'll now only go to Jio Cinema to kind of get that kind of content. Yeah, revenue sharing, right? So uh, all of the business model that we previously discussed, like content licensing, in case they're showing like some big name TV show like Friends or yeah, Sacred Games or something like that. Like then there are like content licensing agreements between the platform and the content owners about how revenue is going to be shared between them. Uh, Same thing for ads as well. Transactional revenue would be, yeah, uh, like the rent model, like we discussed, which is pay-per-view or yeah, on-demand rentals. Subscription revenue would be like monthly or annual subscriptions, right? And premium content obviously generates like the people who want that content now have to come to your platform, which adds value there. So I think I'll try to quickly rush up now. Some TV shows. Yeah. So there are multiple, yeah, good question. There are multiple licenses, sync rates specifically for songs as well. So there's uh, yeah, so there are rights about who owns that particular content, right? And there are rights of who can show that, like, or show that particular content, let's say over the internet or in a TV or in a like a movie theater, and in which geography as well. So it is possible that Netflix might have the rights for it in US, but like Jio Cinema might have the rights for it in India, right? So geography is also like a big role there, and so does like which particular like interface you're showing it in. So like digitally or in a movie theater or on cable television and so on. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay. Right. So I think this just shows like a brief visual or a screenshot of the web interface of GeoCinema. It Your browser interacts with the backend service. It's obviously responsive because um, some things happen on their own, some things happen when you click on them. Like the banner at the top, it's probably like one by one, it's showing you what all is there. You get access to the content library. Some things you can see for free, some things you have to pay for, and so on. As and over time, as you use it more and more, it can recommend you relevant content. Right. So multi-platform and mobile support, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I have built an app in the past, and since I was doing it alone, I had to kind of build it on something like React Native, which allows for creating the app once, and you can have it on iOS and Android, both of them. And versus there are also ways you can have it only on iOS and only on Android as well. Uh, then there are a lot of like app features and optimizations that can be done. For example, you want your static content, which by static content I mean like the logo of GeoCinema, or if there are like other such images or icons or sounds in the app, you want them to be like as compressed as possible. So so your app is like more performant, right? Then there are also things like continuous updates that are done. So like I think everyone would have here would have a phone, so you're used to kind of updating your app from time to time. But let's say if an application wants to send an update even more frequently, right? So there are ways to push these features over the air. So one interesting point here is if you've ever installed Instagram from scratch, if you notice, the first time you install it, you don't have Reels. Like Reels is a feature which gets installed over the air on your phone when you open it the second time. So you install it once, you open it, you don't have Reels. You close the app, you open it again, you have Reels. So they do this because they want to keep the first bundle size or the first download size of the app small. Uh, and once you download it, they have ways that in the background they can use your download over time to kind of get those features in as well, right? So those are like some smaller optimization that these applications do over time. Offline viewing, I think we have spoken a bit about it. You can download and watch it online. Obviously there's encryption and rights management going on, which only allows it to be played in the app and not available file via like file explorer or something like that. So you can't like share it outside. Okay, I think this should be good. Yeah, so every application also these days has to integrate with one more client or like one more format that we haven't spoken about before, but it's probably the most essential one, which is smart TVs, right? So all of these apps have like smart TV apps where you can like download and watch it on the screen. They also have like screen mirroring options where you can play it up from your phone and cast it on these TV as well, which is a feature in itself, right? You can also play it using like your gaming consoles or PS5s or whatever. Mm, yeah, and universal remote control integration, right? So the how people interact with your app is not via like a mouse or clicks. I guess clicks are there, but not via a mouse or a keyboard. But people interact with using like a remote control. So which allows for like newer types of design or newer styles of design. Uh, right. So yeah. So you need to like design your application like different ways because the way people are like interfacing with your application is a remote control and not like a keyboard or mouse. Yeah, I think if like Jio Cinema recently used ARs in a lot of like current live streams where you could like kind of use your phone and like kind of experience the stadium or like see some stats on certain players and so on. So yeah, like these platforms are integrating AR uh, into like live shows as well as VR content, which can be played on these headsets as they're getting more and more popular. Yeah. Okay. If anyone has any questions, you can ask them right now. I will pause for a minute or two. Otherwise, I think we should be good to start the quiz. I'll just yeah. Uh, Yeah, so one second. Yeah, these apps do have integration with Alexa, I think. Siri is a little more rare. But yeah, Alexa has its own like a development kit which you can use and integrate like certain actions with Alexa. Yeah, it's only getting more and more easier to integrate with these apps. The ethics part. I guess ethics can come in multiple ways. One could be people recording, right, and exporting the content out. So like um, unfairly using their content like content on these platforms to um, to kind of like pirate it out, so to speak. That was a big issue back in the day. I think as content has been, so to say, democratized and been available more and more on these platforms, I think people have shown, and even like the encryption and the rights management has gotten better. Like people have shown a reluctance to kind of take part in the piracy part of it. So I think the consumption via more legal means is going up as these content platforms are getting better in terms of the quality of content they have, as well as the catalog of content they have. I think people are getting more and more used to using these applications. Um, we are new here. A lot of sentences are new for me. So can you recommend any book I understand the proper way of kind of word? Okay. I guess you're talking about the kind of words I'm using. So I think um, hmm, you can. I think the best way to be would be to like uh, first of all try to use a different of these kinds of apps and see what kind of like smaller design differences and smaller try to notice like which apps like bug out more, or which apps are like more smoother to use, right? And then you can maybe read a bit more about like how like their technical blogs, or like I think all of them have like a technical blog website. So let me just see if yeah, so you can just write maybe like Jio Cinema Scale or Jio Cinema um, like some technical blogs, and you can find it there. I know Hotstar and Netflix have those blogs. You can just be able to find some for Jio as well. Uh, Is it possible to download encrypted data or offline downloaded videos? This is where it gets a little like ethical, I guess. It would be like any content would not want you to do that, as well as it would be against the terms of service to do something like that. That being said, if you do find a way, that's a security flaw, and yeah. So ideally, if the application has done everything right, you should not be able to. But if there are certain security issues in the app, then you might be able to. However, you should probably not. Uh, there might be easier ways to get that same content rather than trying to encrypt or hack the application itself. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just share the link to the quiz. I'm sharing it in the chat. So yeah, all of you can go and take part in the quiz and just join it, and then we'll start. Yeah, so I've shared a link to the quiz. If can you guys join and let me know if you're able to join? We just begin as soon as there are people that were there. Hey, I don't know if I'm gonna share my screen. Can't find the link. Um, oh, okay, my bad. Um, Everyone, can you see it now? Yeah, I can share my screen. Oh, hey, Sudeep. Oh, yeah, cool. We have people joining in. All right, cool. Let's start. Oh, sweet. Hmm. Yeah, what should the answer be? Hey, I'm doing this for the first time. Am I? Oh, yeah. Oh, it was at least majority of the people kind of got it right. D, nice, nice one, Saurabh. Let's go to the next one. Uh, Not sure if that's your real name, but yeah, T2. Good going. So yeah, think a little about some of the initial slides that we covered, where we were talking about how designs can be improved, right? Um, Yo, nice. Yeah, pretty much everyone got it right. That's great. Nice, we have a new leader. So yeah, I'll give a hint. Um, there's one answer, right? So there's one thing which belongs to high level design. Nice. I got it right. Cool. I mean, you can think about the word load balancer itself. What is it trying to do? You have multiple requests coming in. Nice. Wow. Nitish taking the lead. I think this is the last question. Okay, yeah, last question. So yeah, think of the difference between authentication and authorization. Oh, nice. Again, we got a majority of right answers. What do you think? Nitish is still in the lead, or we have someone else? Number 3, Iron Man. Nice. Hey, T2 is still in the runner-up. Not bad. Hey, pretty good, everyone. Thanks. Uh, okay. I think AlmaBetter team. I think I can. Is this? Oh yeah, thanks. Thanks, Shiva. That was a good quiz indeed. Yeah, this game's been paused.
Yeah.
I think you guys can take over now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It was a very good session, Ishan. We all enjoyed the session. It was very insightful. Thank you so much for joining and giving us such great insights on Jio Cinema system design. So, to carry forward the session, Manjul will be taking over and he'll be presenting us and telling us a little more about AlmaBetter. So, over to you, Manjul.
Thank you, Ishan, for this wonderful session. It was very informative and it was very much knowledgeable as well. And as far as I've been watching and doing these master classes, one thing that I've understood that all these top tech companies, the tools or the languages that they're using, if one particular person understands them well and just develops their skill set, it opens new opportunities for them, right? It all needs good amount of guidance, a relevant curriculum, And obviously mentors, instructors like you will definitely help people getting the transition which they're looking forward to. So thank you so much, Ishan. Thank you, team AlmaBetter also. And I will be taking this part ahead. I will hardly be taking 15 minutes, but it would be very important for all those who are looking forward for a transition. Whether you're a fresher, whether you are currently working in any non-tech field, if you're even working in the tech field and you're looking forward for, high profile, high paying jobs, well, you can stay here, for next 15 minutes, because I will tell you how AlmaBetter is actually helping people getting that particular transition. All right. So just let me share my screen once. So most of the students have this particular question, which I always come through, is that key, what actually is AlmaBetter and why we should go ahead with AlmaBetter, right? So when you talk about AlmaBetter is a community-centric platform where we believe that by studying in groups, we learn better and we grow better too. Because for every problem statement, there are multiple solutions, right? You can reach out to one particular solution, but obviously there are many more solutions to it. When you're learning in group, when you're doing projects in group, when you're getting yourself ready for the jobs, obviously you know more about that particular problem statement. You actually form a community where you will have people who have already, working in this particular domain. You will also have people who have excelled in this particular domain. You will have your instructors, mentors, subject matter experts as well, who will guide you getting that transition for which you have enrolled with us, for which you have actually come to a platform. So we believe in group learning, we believe in community learning, where you should have understanding about what actually is going in the real world, right? And that is what we believe in. That is why we say it's a community first learning platform, where we believe in forming peer networks. Now many of the people will have this question, that why you should go ahead with AlmaBetter. First, it's pretty much important that whatever you are studying, because it's a 6 months of program, right? We train you in these 6 months. We ensure you that you're getting prepared both theoretically as well as practically. All right. So, it's important that you should study all those topics that are currently relevant in this industry, right? There are many people, who do not have coding background. So now how will they learn this? So we ensure that whatever we are teaching, it's from very basic level, so that you get accustomed to this particular program. And from there on, you are being guided towards the advanced versions, so that it becomes easier for you to get that transition. So first point, industry relevant curriculum, which is pretty much important. I have seen a lot of people, they are studying from, different portals, or, a lot of videos that are available over website. But are they really relevant? It's not only about studying things. It's also about studying the things that are currently relevant in this industry. All right. Again, if you are learning anything, it's important that it should be interactive. That is why we have like 100 plus live classes. Like we have 3 classes on a weekly basis that are live. After that, obviously, you will be getting the recorded lectures for that too, because I believe revision of those classes is very much important, because that will help you not only understand things better, but also will help you when you're practicing on the questions. Now, coding is more like mathematics. The more you practice, the more you become better, right? That is why we have like 1,000+ coding problems, assessments, quizzes, assignments, just to ensure that whatever you are learning, you're practicing it well enough. And again, if you're learning anything theoretically, you need to understand how will you implement it in a practical life. That is why we have 20+ capstone projects as well, just to understand you that, let us assume there is a problem statement, there is a problem which is being faced by Jio Cinema. So how your theoretical understanding can help them provide the solution is what we all call the practical based solutions. And for that, we have like 20 capstone projects, which are real-time projects, where you will be getting the real data sets. They will not be dummy ones, they will be real data sets, so that you can not only work on that, but you can also understand that whatever I'm studying is actually being used well in these particular projects. You will have weekly doubt resolution sessions. Also, we have like live daily doubt resolution sessions. We have our team that is sitting in between 10:30 to 8:30 a.m. p.m. 6 days in a week, that is from Monday to Saturday. So if you are facing any problem, post your live classes, while watching the recordings or while doing any of the problems or the assignments, you can directly reach out to them. I will just show you how it works also. Along with that, you can have a mentorship session, just like Ishan is here. He's from the very same domain of data science, right? So he knows what things are going on, what things will work for you, right? And that is what we do here. We ensure that you're getting proper guidance. It's not only about studying something or practicing it on a regular basis. It's also about how well you're getting guided by the best of the people who are working out there in this particular segment only. Now, this was the part of the training program that we have. I already told you, okay, this entire program will be of 6 months, right? So this is part of the training program where you will be getting the live lectures, the recorded lectures, mentorship sessions, doubt resolution sessions, that is daily. You will have coding problems, assessments, quizzes for your practice. You will have capstone projects so that you can work on, the real life problems as well. And then you will have obviously all the topics that are covered from basic till the advanced level. Now, once you complete the 6 months, obviously we will start preparing you for the interviews. And the best thing that one can do to prepare you for the interviews is having 50 plus mock interviews, right? Because mock interviews are pretty much important. Other than understanding about a lot of topics, it's also important how well you are representing those things when you're sitting in an interview. That is why we have like a lot of industry experts who will help you in having these mock interviews. Your resume will be built up. You will be working on a lot of things, a lot of case studies, so that you are pretty much prepared while you're sitting in the interviews. And obviously, because all of these things are being covered, we are covering end-to-end things here, from teaching you from the basic level till the time we are preparing for the interviews. That is why we say that it's a 100% job guarantee program, with having 500 plus hiring partners. They can be MNCs, they can be startups, they can be product-based companies, they can be service-based companies. So there are a lot of opportunities that are waiting for you. And what you have to do is that you have to sit and you have to ensure that you're giving your 100% in these 6 months. Trust me, if you are able to get yourself disciplined in this 6 months of program that we offer, placement guarantee becomes a secondary part. You will get it anyhow, anywhere you can get it. Okay. A lot of learning activities that do happen here at AlmaBetter. I already told you about live lectures, a lot of projects, group discussions that do happen, just to ensure that you're forming a community in within AlmaBetter only. You will have guest lectures like this masterclass. It was like a guest lecture. We called someone from the industry, and he's just giving you an insight about how things are going on in that particular industry. Mentorship session, very much important. I keep on saying this to all the learners, that studying, practicing is a good thing, but you should ensure that you're getting guided in a right way so that you can get that transition in the best possible way. Capstone project is there. There are a lot of tests, assignments, competency challenges that you have to give, obviously to track yourself also. It's important for us also to understand that what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and that can only be done if we are continuously taking your tests, we are continuously taking your assignments, we're giving you a lot of assessments as well, so that if you are failing in few things, we can help you improve that as well. Okay, I was talking about these companies, like we have like 500 companies that are hiring from us directly. So you do not need to just study from here. You can stay with us, right? We will prepare you for the placement, and you might end up getting yourself a job in all these high-tech companies, Disney Plus Hotstar, Amazon, Swiggy, Crate, Pesa Bazaar, Flipkart, Ola, Zomato, then Razorpay, Paytm, all these big companies. No, the best part about learning or upskilling anything is that it can have its opportunities in all the sectors, whether it is fintech, whether it is e-commerce, whether it is ID services. You will have a lot of sector that you can cover if you are skilled in few of the things, right? You can even have an opportunity in the Jio Cinemas, as this entire masterclass was around it only. So if you have right kind of skill set, who knows, you might end up getting a job in Jio Cinemas as well. Okay, this is a very interesting part for me. This is for the salary distribution of all the AlmaBetter graduates, and these are the freshers who have got transition from our end. So 19% of the students, they do get a package of 5 lakhs per annum, up to 7 lakhs per annum, which is not a bad deal. You know, if you're a fresher, you have recently graduated, or you do not have any job in your hand right now in the market, if you're going at a package of 5.5, 6 lakhs per annum, that is a very good thing, right? But again, there are 29% of the students who have even got a salary package that is ranging between 7 to 8 lakhs per annum. Again, a very good start for all those who are starting in this particular field. Now, this third point is very important, right? Because there are like 37% of the students who are being placed from our end, right, at a package of 8 lakhs per annum to 9 lakhs per annum. That is huge. Matlab, if you're a fresher, right, even if you're from a tech background or from a non-tech background, 8 to 9 lakhs per annum is a huge deal. If you're taking it, that means you have given your career a very good start. Maybe you can double this entire amount in a couple of years of hard work that you will do in the industry. So very good ratio this is. Now, there is one thing that most of the people, find out that, okay, there are like only 15% of the students, 12%, 9 to 10 LPA, and then 10 or greater than 10 LPA, 3% of the people are there. So there are like 15% of the students do end up getting a salary package that is more than 9 lakhs per annum. Now, it might sound astounding that, okay, there are only 15% of the students are getting it. But look, if you're doing all your hard work, if you're disciplined enough, if you're completing all your lectures, if you're taking things seriously for the next 6 months, boom, you can end up getting a package of maybe, 9.5, 10 lakhs per annum, or even greater than that, right? And any salary that is above 10 lakhs per annum for a fresher, trust me, it's something that speaks volume of the amount of skill set that you have and the amount of hard work that you have put in. So I to always say this to students, that although we do promise every student that you will end up getting a package of 5 lakhs per annum, but I always push my learners to work really hard so that you can end up getting more than 10 lakhs per annum. Because again, it's not a bad deal for a fresher to take a job of maybe 11 or 12 lakhs per annum. And this has happened here at AlmaBetter. People do get that, although their numbers are limited, but obviously people who will work hard will end up getting that. Now, there are a lot of instructors and mentors, just like Soumya Mishra is there from Microsoft. Then we have Abhinav from Swiggy. Then we have Mradul Jain from ABI NBV. Then we have Sujit Pandey from IBM. So one thing that I always believe is that the people who are working in the industry can teach you better as compared to people who are working or teaching you in colleges, right? Because they know what actually is going on. Just understand the exposure that Soumya Mishra from Microsoft can provide to you, that what is going on in Microsoft, right? That is huge. That is unmatchable, the amount of information that she can provide. So these were the instructors and the mentors. A lot of success stories, you can even find it on our website, and you reach out to these learners over LinkedIn as well. You can understand that how many people are. Just a moment. Just a moment. All right, just let me share my screen again. People have questions here or what? No. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen again. So we were here at the success stories part. So there are a lot of people who are from non-tech background, there are a lot of people who are from tech background, there are a lot of people who are freshers and are not from the science background. They have got the transition for which they actually applied here at AlmaBetter. And it was all possible because of the curriculum that we have designed, the instructors that we have, the mentors that we have. Well, they ensure that each and every learner who is giving their effort here in 6 months are getting the transition for which they have actually applied here. Okay, so these are some of the success stories. There are only 6 out here that are here, but over our website or over on LinkedIn also, you will get hundreds of success stories where people have got the transition for which they have actually applied at AlmaBetter. So now I'll just let you go through the student dashboard, walk through how it looks like. But this is how actually the website looks like of AlmaBetter. So currently we have like 2 courses that we are providing. One is the full stack data science and the artificial intelligence that we have. And then we have like certification in full stack data science, that is for web development. We do have master's program for both for data science as well as for web development. Now, one good thing that we have done now for these upcoming batches is that we have also included artificial intelligence in our in our syllabus. That is itself a huge thing, because right now you must have heard about Chat GPT and every other AI tool that is making things easier for all, office goers or all the people who are working in tech industry. It's important for all of you to learn about these tools, right? Because sooner or later, industry will start using all these tools in a more regular way, right? And if you are proficient in these tools, any company will take you. They can give you the amount of package that you can demand from them, right? So again, this is something which is very huge, that we at AlmaBetter ensure that in these 6 months of training program, we're not only preparing you for data scientists, for machine learning engineers, but also for artificial intelligence architect. Maybe, you just never know, you can have a possibility for that as well. So the average salary out here is like 8 lakhs per annum, the highest being 25, 24 is basically for 24, but something is for the web development. For data science, it's like 33 lakhs per annum that one of our learners got. Okay, so we have learners, or we have instructors who are from the top tech companies, from the top man companies. They can be from Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, Google. So the exposure that they provide to you is immense. It's huge. Again, a lot of success stories out here on our website. You can just go through it and you will also understand that how people from different background, like Saubhagya was from marketing. He was a completely non-tech background, but he got himself into associate of analytics consultant. Kamya, she was a fresher, got herself into a statistical programmer here at one of the companies that we have. Again, Soumya, she was a fresher, got herself placed as a business analyst. So there are like multiple profiles that we have here, ranging from technical to non-technical. People are working in data science only, to people are not working in any of the tech companies and they got the transition. Now, this is very important. The 6 months of program that we offer to our learners, it will have like foundation track, again, where we will teach you about computer programming, we will teach you about Python, all those topics that are currently relevant in the industry. And the best part is that we have added few of the AI tools also. So this is again very huge thing, that if you're learning something, how you can smartly apply those things using the AI tools that are available in the market. And for understanding those AI tools, you need to understand artificial intelligence, right? And we have ensured that we are adding all those things in the syllabus that we're providing. I'm showing you the data science version of it. We're starting the batch from Monday only. So you can see that you only have to learn one particular language, that is Python, that we will be teaching you from scratch. Then you have Chat GPT, and again you have SQL, MS Excel, Tableau, Power BI, a lot of stuffs. You will also learn about a lot of mathematical tools, and then obviously we will dig deeper using the machine learning part. And again, there are like many specialization courses also that we provide, and we do not charge anything extra for you. So you can even go for distributed machine learning, product analytics, or even for deep learning, whatever is feasible for you. You feel like you can do it. Now, post the completion of the 6 months of program that we offer, because there are like 6 modules and we cover each module in one particular month, followed by obviously projects and a lot of assignments and quizzes. Then we go into AlmaX. AlmaX is like the career service platform that we use here, right? So what we do is that we will teach you about the business communication. It's not only about understanding a lot of things, it's also about how well you are explaining those things in the interview. And we do that by taking a lot of business communication classes. Then there is profile and resume building, pretty important, because whatever you have done in these 6 months needs to be highlighted in your CV. Also, your background needs to be structured in such a way that a lot of questions do not occur from there, right? Then you have your interview preparations, mock interviews, and obviously a lot of coding challenges and revision. All those things, they do keep going on, because obviously we are dealing with all these things in the final phase before you get yourself the transition. So if you're getting all these things, it will not be a tough deal for you to crack any of the interviews or to get any of the jobs in the companies that we have. Now, again, look at the companies that we have here. I already have discussed in the previous slide, but again, I'm reiterating things. You can get an offer from Myntra, from Zomato, from Dunzo, HSBC. All these are good companies. They're big companies. JP Morgan Chase, it's an MNC. Razorpay, again, it's a huge tech company. Then we have Capgemini, again, it's a multinational company that is dealing in IT services. So a lot of good and huge companies are part of us, and you might end up getting an opportunity to sit in the interviews of all these companies and also to get the transition that you're looking forward to. This is how the certification looks like for AlmaBetter here, right? And it will be certified from our end that you have successfully completed your full stack data science certification, and you're pretty much ready to sit in the interviews. These were the instructors and the educators that I was discussing about. And again, I told you about why you should enroll in AlmaBetter data science course, already being discussed. It's being mentioned there on the website as well. So a lot of question that what if I miss a class? No worries, you will have the recorded sessions with you, so you can even watch them as well. But what if I'm not able to manage my job or schedule with the class timings? Again, there are like multiple recordings. You have daily live doubt resolution sessions that you have. You can go there, resolve your doubts on a daily basis. So even if you're working, it doesn't resist you from learning all these things on a daily basis. You can get back from your work, you can watch the recorded lectures. If you have any queries, you can sit in the doubt resolutions forum that we have here. Do I get a lifetime access? Obviously, you will get the lifetime access for all the recorded lectures, as well as for the materials and the assignments that we do give in this particular 6 months of training program. How will I resolve my doubts? Already me explained that you can resolve it by going directly into the live doubt resolution forum that we have. A lot of projects are there, right? Many of them are from Netflix, Zomato, Airbnb, Yes Bank. All of them are like heavy tech companies. And then you have like a lot of mock interviews that we ensure that you are getting. So now this entire program is divided into two parts. So initially, you have to pay us a tuition fees that is 29,999. And in that particular tuition fee, we will be covering every aspect, every topic that I have already discussed above that was there in the curriculum. So I don't think so that in 29,999 you will get any best institute who is teaching not only data science, not only machine learning, but also AI. It's a huge thing. You're investing your time here, so do ensure that you're investing in the right possible way. So what will be included in these 29,999? All the topics of data science or maybe web development. Again, 100 plus live classes, doubt resolution session, recorded lectures, projects, assignments. All these things are being covered in these in this particular tuition fees that is 29,999. And once you complete the 6 months of training program, then you have to clear an ABCAT test. Obviously, we have to take a test so that we can understand that where you're going strong and where you need to work a bit. Because I don't want you to get yourself directly into the interviews unprepared. I want you to be fully prepared when it comes to the theoretical understanding as well as the practical understanding. Once you clear the ABCAT test, then you need to sign the income sharing agreement. It's completely up to you. If you want to take our career services, you can sign in that income sharing agreement, right? And after that, once you get yourself placed at a package of more than 5 lakhs per annum, you have to pay us 10,000 rupees for the next 24 months. Okay. If you're not getting placed from our end, if you're not getting job from our end, if your package is less than 5 lakhs per annum, you do not have to pay us a single penny. Okay. That's the deal that we have here. That's how this entire end-to-end process of AlmaBetter works, right? You complete the 6 months of program that we offer to you, you clear the EBCAT test, you sign the income sharing agreement, you get yourself a minimum job of 5 lakhs per annum, you start getting salary from that particular job, start paying us 10,000 for the next 24 months. So you will have a job in your hand, and then only you have to pay from that particular job. And in these 6 months, I already told you, we will be covering data science, machine learning, and even artificial intelligence. So not a bad deal, not at all a bad deal. So recently we won an award, at the World Education 2023 Awards for someone who are leaders in tech education. Right, we're trying to change lives of people, and for that, obviously, we got appreciation from the World Education Congress Awards that we won this particular year. A lot of questions are being here. You can just go through it once. I'm just showing you how the real dashboard looks like. So I'm already enrolled in this particular program. So this is how the dashboard looks like. So here you will find out all the topics, that is introduction to computer programming, then you have numerical programming in Python, then you have relational database. One good thing is that after completing every topic, you will have a lot of interview questions as well. What are the two types of functions in Python? So other than teaching you things from scratch from day one, we are also helping you to get yourself prepared for the interviews from day one only. There are like 50 questions out here that are completely based on interview, right? So you're not only understanding topics, but you're also preparing yourself for these interview based questions as well. Look, I have a class, on 29th of July, that is data exploration. I'm already enrolled in one of the courses out here at AlmaBetter. So this is how it looks like. You can see your classroom from here. So we do have our classroom thing here. Now, one thing that you need to understand is that all those classes that got completed, you will find the recordings of these classes as well. And if there are a lot of notes that are being provided, you can also check it out from here. So you're watching the live classes, you're watching the recording, and you are also going through the notes to revise, and that will help you in doing all the coding and the assignments that we have. Practice section, again, I told you about the coding problems, the coding assessments, and the quiz assessments. Look, there are like multiple number of coding practice questions that are being there. Like this questions are, in this particular set, there are like 20 questions that you have to attempt in 30 minutes. So again, if I take 20 questions, and if I have like 30 sets, you have like 600 questions from here only. All right. So again, let us assume that there is a data science mock test 6 that has again 20 questions in it. So there are a lot of questions that you can practice on. And then we have like module for Python data science. We have a lot of projects out here. Overall, we have like 31 projects, out of which 4 are mandatory if you want to qualify for AlmaX that we have here, the placement services that we provide. The career part, I already have discussed that how it works. Like you complete all these programs, okay, and then you complete your AB CAT test that we have here, and then again, you qualify for the placement services that we have here at AlmaBetter. You can also book any of the mentorship sessions. You just have to click on any of these 5 options, whatever is suitable for you. Add your date, time preferences, and you can book your mentorship sessions as well. Very easy to do, nothing nothing rocket science out here. And this is the live support that I was talking about, that this is how it works basically. Let us assume that I have a particular topic and I want to discuss it with any of the people who are there sitting as the subject matter experts. I can just go there and can solve it as well. You have to fill all these details, and then you're more than ready to go for this. So what you can here do is that even if you're facing any of the problem out here, you can just go there for any of the doubts. Look, the subject matter experts are already there that are being joined by learners here, right? You can just take any of the chairs and you can sit there and can solve your doubts. If it is from web development, subject matter expert is here. If it is from data science, subject matter expert is here as well. And if you have any master degree program queries, then again, we have a subject matter expert waiting for you. If all these tables are full, you can wait here in the waiting room section. And once your chance comes up, you can clarify your doubt here as well. You can have a voice call with them. You can even have a video call with them, and you can also have chat functions with them as well. So this is how basically the dashboard of AlmaBetter looks like. And yeah, that was that. And now we can have certain questions regarding the admissions if you guys have. No, not really, Priya. I think replacement of jobs, these are not possible, but obviously people who have good hands-on experience on AI tools will definitely be earning more to those people, who do not have that access to all those tools. That is why in IT industry, you need to keep on updating yourself. So you will not be getting replaced, but obviously your growth will become a bit slower. Yeah, we do have our full stack web development course as well, Manish. There you can visit the website and you can find out all the topics that are being covered there only. Let me just show you how the full stack development also takes place. Just a moment. So this is how the full stack data science also, the certification full stack web development looks like. Again, it's a 6 months of program as already being discussed with you. And here you will be learning about the computer programming, where you will be learning about the JavaScript part. Then again, data science and algorithm is a very important part where you will be learning the basic level till the advanced level, front-end development, HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Then you will have backend development as well, right, where you will be learning about the MongoDB part. So this entire program is based on the MERN technology, that is MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. And then again, you will be learning about the practical software engineering tools. If you want to get certain specialization tool, as been talked in this session about the high level design that was being done in Jio Cinema, you can also choose this particular specialization. You can also go for cloud computing, and you can also go for blockchain development as well. So everything remains the same as it was in data science, but obviously there will be certain changes in the curriculum because both of them are two different fields. I think that itself answers the questions. There is a feedback form that has been shared here on the chat box. So what you guys can do is that you can fill it fast so that it helps us improving our master classes with every passing week. We do ensure that we are getting new topics, more interesting ones, so that all of you are aware about how things are going in this particular segment. Any questions that you guys have regarding the admission part, you can directly, reach out to our team also. You can visit our website. You can also have a request call back from our team, and we will guide you in a much more better way so that it helps you joining the particular program. Okay, Manish, I've already answered that. All right, so I'm not getting a lot of questions out here. So since you guys were here till this time, thank you so much for turning up, all of you. I'm just sharing a coupon code which you can use and get 15% discount over the tuition fees that we are currently offering, right? And this particular coupon code is valid for next 6 hours. So obviously, if you're interested, you can get a flat 15% off on the tuition fees that we are providing currently. The code I have already pinged in the comment box chat section. So I'm just pinging it again here. So if you're looking forward for that, you can just use these coupon code and get yourself enrolled in one of the courses that we offer. All right. So that was that from my end. And for any of the queries, you can reach out to us directly. You can use this coupon code for 15% discount, valid for next 6 hours. And team AlmaBetter, if you have anything to say, we can go ahead with it, or we can just wrap up this session now.
Yeah, we can wrap up the session. I would like to thank everybody who has joined the session. And I would like to thank you as well, Manjul, for giving us very good insights on everything about AlmaBetter. So we'll be ending the session now. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for turning up. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a happy weekend.